Hello everyone, my name is Joe Ramstead and I'm here today to talk to you a little bit more about parliamentary procedure and what it means to run a meeting effectively. So the way I set this little PowerPoint up is it's going to be broken up into about 3 or 4 sections, covering some basic things about main motions, debates, the structure of parliamentary procedure, just basic background about parliamentary procedure so that you have the skills that you need to effectively go out into the community and into your next meeting and confidently be able to use parliamentary procedure to the best of your ability. So as you can see on this main slide, I have a little bit of a meme. It says wasn't a parliamentary procedure before there were standing rules. So just a little bit of a meme. I have a bunch of memes on this presentation. Standing rules are something that we use in parliamentary procedure just to make sure that give some structure and some general rules to the way we run our meetings. So it's just a little bit of a pun there because they've been around for a very, very long time, and I've been into parliamentary procedure since day one of my existence. Um, Here's a little bit of information about what we're going to be doing in part one today. Part one is going to cover what is parliamentary procedure and some of the common roles that we see in parliamentary procedure when we're running meetings and when we're participating in assemblies. Excuse me. So to begin with, what is parliamentary procedure? Parliamentary procedure is a method in which meetings can be conducted that allows for the majority to prevail while still giving the minority a voice. And this is done through discussion and debate, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the next video segments. There are several reasons why a society might adopt parliamentary procedure, including to increase efficiency in meetings. So parliamentary procedure brings about some type of structure or organization to the meeting, and it really allows us to get through and discuss a wide variety of information very effectively. So a lot of organizations and societies choose to adopt parliamentary procedure as a way to make sure that their meetings aren't lasting 9 hours and that everything can get done focused and quickly as possible. Secondly, to bring about organization or structure, parliamentary procedure, there is one idea is being discussed at a time. There's a lot of order, and if everybody in the assembly knows how to use parley effectively, they'll be able to be very organized and follow all protocol effectively. Next, it's to ensure fairness and equal opportunities for members to be heard. So through debate, as I previously mentioned, members are able to learn how to, or they're able to present their ideas effectively to their fellow cohort and everybody who is in the assembly at the time that they're discussing with their ideas. And it allows for everybody to be heard regardless of their race or their gender or any other types of demographics that they might have, because the president has the obligation to call on every member as they stand up and give everybody the attention that they need so long as they're following the rules of discussion and parliamentary procedure. So now we're going to look at some of the common roles in parliamentary procedure. If any of you were FFA members, I kind of adopted this from the different FFA positions that we see in different parliamentary procedure competitive events and through offices. So to begin with, we have the chair or president, and their main duty is to preside over meetings, which is a very challenging job. You really have to know your parliamentary procedure, and you have to be able to have a keen eye for who has been talking and who is on what side, and be able to really convey to your audience and be able to be efficient and great at running meetings. And it takes a lot of time to be a very good president, but through hard work you certainly can. Vice president basically assists the president and presides when needed. So if the president's out sick or there's some type of emergency that comes up and the president is not able to attend the meeting and there's still a quorum present or a minimum number of people there to transact business, the vice president will step in and run the meeting for them typically. Next, the secretary is the person who keeps a record of meetings and the meeting minutes as well as membership. So whenever you're at a meeting, the secretary is typically the one who calls the roll and says who is there and who's not there and sends out the minutes at the end of the meeting, which is basically an abbreviated version of what occurred at the meeting and what motions or transactions were occurring. Next, the treasurer is the individual who tracks financial records and maintains the budget of the organization. The treasurer is a very big position. It's a position of trust because they are the ones who are in charge of any dues that are collected or the people who are making purchases for the organization, and they have to have they have to be very good at math and keeping good records for the organization, so that's a very important job as well. Next up, the reporter. The reporter is a little bit more uncommon in most societies, but as I mentioned, FFA does have this position. The reporter is an individual who manages correspondence and communication. So if somebody got a letter of appreciation, the reporter would typically read that off in the meeting and share with other people about what is happening in the community and how they can continue to make a difference in the community as well. The reporter also typically does social media and manages external and internal communication, just so that all members are aware of what's happening and so that the community at large has the ability to understand what's happening within the organization and potentially draw new members in. Next is the sentinel. The sentinel is the individual who ensures that the meeting room is comfortable and that all guests are welcome. So they're standing at the front door with their friendly, welcoming face, welcoming people into the room and getting them excited about what's going to happen at the meeting. Very fun and important job. And next up is the parliamentarian. Basically, the parliamentarian's job, it's kind of within the name, they enforce parliamentary law. And parliamentarian, you can get accredited or certified to become a parliamentarian, or you can just have a good background and knowledge of parliamentary procedure and have the ability to enact information or tell the assembly information about parliamentary procedure should some type of disturbance or confusion come about during the meeting if a member is unsure of what they're doing or if somebody has some type of breach within the assembly. So in lieu of this, only a secretary and chair are required in a given society. Chair, as I mentioned, is the person who runs the meeting while the secretary takes the minutes. So the vice president, secretary, treasurer, reporter, and sentinel, and vice president, while they're all, and the parliamentarian as well, while they're all very great roles, they're not necessarily required for the organization. They only have to have a chair and a secretary according to Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised. So at the end of each part, I'm going to have a few review questions that you can kind of think through. If you would like, you can go back to the previous slides and answer them.